21-year-old girl Jenia was fatally shot while riding in a vehicle with her boyfriend, 20-year-old Rogers McLeod Jr., in Pike Road, Alabama. She was a junior at Alabama State University, ASU, where she was pursuing a degree in criminal justice. She was also a proud member of the university's popular Honey Bees dance team. According to McLeod, Jenia had grabbed his gun from the car's console and shot herself during an emotional moment. However, law enforcement found troubling inconsistencies in his story. Investigators recovered evidence from McLeod's phone, including Snapchat videos and photos that contradicted his claims. One disturbing image reportedly showed Jenia bleeding with no firearm visible, while a video McLeod sent to his mother showed a gun resting on Jenia's shoulder as he said, "This girl shot herself." Jenia Grimes' death is a heartbreaking tragedy that has drawn widespread attention. Beyond her academic and extracurricular commitments, Jenia was a devoted mother to her 9-month-old son, balancing school life with motherhood. The investigation into Jenia's death is ongoing, with legal proceedings still ahead. Authorities continue to collect evidence as they work toward justice in this deeply painful and emotional case. This is the heartbreaking story of 21-year-old Jenia Grimes, a promising college student affectionately known as Purple Doll, whose life was tragically and controversially cut short on March 27, 2025. Jenia, a junior at Alabama State University, was well on her way to earning a degree in criminal justice. Her future was bright and filled with potential, until it was stolen from her in an unthinkable way, allegedly by someone she trusted the most. When a news reporter interviewed Jenia's mother and asked whether she believed her daughter would harm herself, she responded without hesitation, "No, no, no, no. She wouldn't even touch a gun. She was afraid of guns."
Think your daughter would kill herself?
No. She wouldn't even touch the gun. She was afraid of guns.
Her statement echoed the disbelief of many who knew Jenia and added fuel to the growing calls for justice. Initially, authorities seemed reluctant to arrest McLeod, which sparked widespread public outrage and demands for answers. But soon, new developments shifted the course of the investigation. So, what really happened that night? Did he shoot her, or not? The search for the truth continues. This tragic case takes place in Montgomery, Alabama, the state's capital and a city steeped in civil rights history. The city is home to the Black Granite Civil Rights Memorial and an adjacent exhibition center, both honoring the legacy of the civil rights movement. While Montgomery experienced a drop in homicide numbers in 2024, recording 61 homicides compared to 75 the previous year, other types of crime have surged. Property crimes such as robberies, vehicle break-ins, and car thefts have all seen noticeable increases. Amid the city's shifting crime trends, the murder of Jenia Grimes stands out as one of the most tragic and haunting cases, one that continues to leave a community grieving and a mother still searching for justice. By the way, if you like the way we present these stories or if true crime cases are your kind of thing, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories for you. Jenia Grimes, lovingly known by friends and family as Jenia and Jenny, was a radiant and ambitious 21-year-old born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. A proud 2021 graduate of Mays High School in Southwest Atlanta, Jenia stood out early on for her magnetic personality and exceptional talent in dance. One of her high school dance videos even went viral, catching the attention of national media and earning a feature on Access Hollywood, a moment that hinted at the bright future ahead of her. Her passion for performing led her to Alabama State University, where she continued to blossom both academically and artistically. At ASU, Jenia was affectionately nicknamed Purple Doll and Strawberry by her peers, names that reflected her vibrant, colorful personality and her sweet, joyful presence. She was a junior working toward a degree in criminal justice, with dreams of building a meaningful career that combined her intellect, strength, and deep sense of purpose. Beyond her academic pursuits, Jenia was a standout member of ASU's celebrated Honey Bees dance team. She wasn't just part of the team, she was one of its stars. Her performances were full of energy, grace, and soul, captivating crowds and inspiring her fellow dancers. Dance wasn't just a hobby for Jenia, it was her lifeblood. Those close to her often said that her world revolved around movement, rhythm, and making others smile through the joy she brought to every performance. In college, she met Rogers McLeod, a freshman and popular offensive linebacker on the university's football team. Their connection quickly turned romantic, and the two eventually welcomed a beautiful baby together. Despite the challenges of young motherhood, Jenia was fiercely determined not to let anything derail her dreams. Even with a newborn in her arms, she returned to school with focus and passion, continuing to dance and stay involved on campus. Her baby, just 9 months old at the time of her death, was her motivation and her light. But behind her glowing smile and determined spirit, Jenia faced silent battles. According to friends and family, her relationship with Rogers was troubled. At 400 pounds and physically intimidating, Rogers reportedly became abusive, emotionally and physically. Jenia confided in family members about the mistreatment, admitting that he would often hit her and make her feel small, despite her loving and caring nature. Still, she refrained from reporting him to the authorities, fearing the consequences he might face and wanting to protect the father of her child. She carried the weight of that pain in silence, choosing instead to keep dancing, keep striving, and keep showing up for her child and her dreams. Her friends recall how she would light up every room she entered, how she danced like nothing else mattered, and how she partied when she could, laughed freely, and gave her love generously. Jenia Grimes was more than a student, a dancer, or a mother. She was a young woman full of promise, deeply loved by her community and taken far too soon. Her story is one of light, resilience, and heartbreak, a stark reminder of how even the brightest stars can be dimmed by those closest to them. On March 27, 2025, a tragic and deeply unsettling event unfolded as Jenny Grimes and the father of her child, Rogers McLeod, were driving along Interstate 85. According to reports, Rogers abruptly pulled the car over and dialed 911, claiming that Jenny had been shot in the head and urgently needed help. When first responders arrived at the scene, they found Jenny critically wounded. Medics provided immediate treatment before she was airlifted to a nearby hospital in a desperate attempt to save her life. Sadly, despite their efforts, Jenny succumbed to her injuries not long after arriving at the hospital. What followed was a tangled web of conflicting stories and growing suspicion. Rogers, who had a known history of abusive behavior toward Jenny, told authorities that she had inflicted the gunshot wound on herself.
Southwest Atlanta family is devastated by the death of their daughter, and now the Montgomery County, Alabama Sheriff's Office has launched an investigation into the death of Alabama State University student Gianna Grimes.
Grimes was a proud member of the Alabama State University Honeybees dance team.
However, the evidence didn't quite align with his version of events. The gunshot was located on the left side of Jenny's head, yet she was right-handed, raising serious doubts about the likelihood of her having shot herself. Despite these concerns, police did not immediately arrest Rogers. At the time, investigators stated that there wasn't enough clear evidence to determine exactly what had happened inside the car that day. This lack of immediate action sparked confusion and frustration among those close to Jenny, who knew about the toxic and abusive nature of her relationship with Rogers. The circumstances surrounding her death quickly became the center of a complicated and heartbreaking investigation, one that left her family, friends, and community searching for answers and justice. Family and friends showed grief and mentioned that she was a star in every way, full of life, energy, and dreams. Her talent even landed her a feature on Access Hollywood. After graduating in 2021, she took her passion to Alabama State University, where she danced with the Honeybees, dazzling crowds with her moves and spirit. Just 9 months ago, Jenia became a mother, but she didn't let that stop her. She returned to school, determined to finish her degree and chase her dream of becoming an FBI agent. Now, as the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office investigates her death, her loved ones are demanding answers. They won't rest until the truth comes out and justice is served. For Jenia, the dancer, the mother, the dreamer. After mounting public pressure and growing scrutiny from the community, authorities finally took action in the tragic case of Jenia Grimes. What many believed was being overlooked or mishandled by law enforcement reached a turning point when police arrested Rogers McLeod, Jenny's boyfriend and the father of her child, and charged him with capital murder.
An Atlanta family is speaking publicly for the first time following the arrest of a young man who they say betrayed their trust.
Deputies have now charged the boyfriend of Jenia Grimes with the murder of the Atlanta student who went off to college in Alabama. Fox 5's Kevin Stewart is live in Atlanta with the update. Kevin?
Courtney and Russ, we are live here at Antioch Baptist Church North. This is where Grimes' funeral will be held this weekend. The family is still putting the final touches on it and trying to process what happened.
He is now being held without bond as the case proceeds through the justice system. Jenny's death sent shockwaves through Alabama State University, where she was a junior majoring in criminal justice. In a heartfelt public statement shared on X, formerly Twitter, the university expressed deep sorrow over the loss, honoring her bright spirit and extending condolences to her family, friends, and all who knew her. Jenny was not just a student. She was a vibrant, kind, and determined young woman who had big dreams of becoming a lawyer. She was scheduled to graduate in August, a milestone she had worked tirelessly toward while also raising her 9-month-old son. Mentor and ASU ambassador recalled the moment she heard the devastating news. "We heard the tragedy had struck," she said. She was being airlifted from a gas station to Baptist South Hospital in Montgomery, just really trying to put the pieces together.
Full of life, full of energy, as you all just said earlier, super flexible, you know. She was a honeybee, which is a big girl dance line at ASU, but size does not matter. It did not stop her. She was splitting, pirouetting, doing all the things that any ballerina can do, and I think that's what allowed her to really stand out.
At first, they said it was a suicide. That uncertainty hung in the air during the early days of the investigation. But for those who knew Jenia, the story just didn't add up. She was known for her bright spirit and will to live, traits that made the initial suicide claim all the more unbelievable.
Everybody who knew Jenia Grimes described her as a superstar. She was an extraordinary dancer who was even featured on Access Hollywood for her moves. But tonight, following her shooting death, her family tells me they are just consumed with grief.
Anybody can tell you, oh, we were like twins.
Do you think your daughter would kill herself?
No. She wouldn't even touch the gun. She was afraid of guns.
In response to her passing, Alabama State University came together to honor her memory. They held a touching balloon release to pay tribute to the life of a young woman who had become a vibrant part of their campus. Her funeral was held on April 12th at Antioch North Baptist Church, a moment of collective mourning for her family, friends, and the many lives she touched. A GoFundMe page was launched to support funeral costs, and the words used to describe her there echoed what so many already knew. Jenia was full of life, love, and determination. She juggled being a student and a mother with grace and ambition. She was on track to graduate soon and had dreams of becoming a lawyer, dreams that were tragically cut short. What makes this loss even more devastating is the impact it has on her young son. At just 9 months old, he has now lost both parents. His mother to a fatal act of violence and his father to the justice system, as he stands accused of her murder. This wasn't just the end of Jenia's life, it was the unraveling of a young family's future. Authorities confirmed what many feared. This was not an accident. It was a domestic violence case that escalated to murder. As Assistant Chief explained, the police had been quietly but thoroughly investigating behind the scenes. To protect the integrity of the case, we have not publicly discussed the details, he said. But don't confuse our silence with inaction. Investigators, crime scene technicians, and analysts have been working nonstop to gather evidence, piece together the truth, and ensure that the suspect, Rogers McLeod, was held accountable. Now that an arrest has been made, the path forward focuses on justice.
Montgomery County Sheriff's deputies have made an arrest following the shooting death of an Alabama State University student. This is Rogers McLeod Jr. He was taken into custody and charged with capital murder. He's being held without bond. McLeod is accused of shooting and killing his girlfriend, Grenaya Grimes, in the town of Pike Road. The crime scene was at a convenience store off Highway 80 in the Wall community. Grimes was a 21-year-old criminal justice major at ASU. Investigators say her death appears to be an incident of domestic violence.
We've been thoroughly investigating that case all week, and ever since last Thursday, our investigators have been wide open. Sheriff Cunningham gives us all the technology and support so our investigators can go out and operate efficiently and find out the true facts of this case.
A GoFundMe page has been set up to pay for Grimes' funeral and support her 9-month-old son.
But for those who love Jenia, the pain remains fresh. Her story is a painful reminder of how urgent it is to address domestic violence and how important it is to protect those who are too often silent.
Jenia Grimes' family sat in the courtroom as her accused killer faced a judge. Judge Pamela Higgins heard some of the evidence against Rogers McLeod Jr. She found that the evidence is strong enough for this case to head to a grand jury. At the preliminary hearing, we heard from an investigator with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. He testified McLeod and Grimes were traveling from Auburn to Montgomery to get her back for a class at Alabama State University. He says McLeod told authorities that Grimes became inconsolable about financial issues during the drive and grabbed a gun he kept in the middle console of his car and shot herself. But investigators believe McLeod shot his girlfriend in Macon County before pulling into a gas station in Pike Road right off Interstate 85. The investigator says they found several Snapchat videos on McLeod's phone taken minutes before he dialed 911. One that he did not send to anyone showed Grimes bleeding in the car and no gun in sight. A second video McLeod sent to his mother showed a gun placed on Grimes' shoulder and says, quote, "This girl shot herself." Investigators also say McLeod sent a text to his family saying Grimes shot herself, but investigators did not believe his story. They say this is a case of domestic violence where a young woman was murdered at the hands of her boyfriend. The defense did withdraw a motion for bond. McLeod will remain behind bars.
As the legal process unfolds, many are calling for Jenny's life and death to spark change. Not just justice for her, but greater protection and awareness for survivors of domestic abuse. Her story has become a powerful reminder of how vital it is to listen, to act, and to never ignore the signs. To her loved ones, Jenny will always be remembered not just for how she died, but for how she lived, with joy, determination, and love. May her soul rest in peace, and may her legacy live on as a call to justice and safety for others. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Truth and Crimes. We appreciate you taking the time to reflect on such a difficult and important case. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share them in the comments because your voice matters. Our mission is to bring you accurate, well-researched, and emotionally compelling stories, all grounded in truth. Until next time, stay safe, take care of one another, and stay tuned for another gripping case coming soon.